Greetings from Temecula, California, and welcome to the Ryder Report. It's Tuesday, and that means you and I are back together for another excursion into truth, clarity, and fun in the world of sports. And oh, what a day it is! A day of goodbyes at Oklahoma State. In New York, the Giants and Liberty all making changes. These are the stories that shape not just the games, but the legacies. But hang on, because while some doors close, others are wide open. Tonight, a fantastic night of hoops in the WNBA. Drama, electricity, overtime, the whole deal. And we are now officially 1 month, just 1 month from the tip of the NBA season, and I've got the inside scoop that you won't hear anywhere else but right here on this program. Before we start, though, I want to pause because Loyola University Chicago's beloved chaplain, Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, you remember her, the heart of that Final Four run. She has officially retired at the age of 106. 106. She will no longer be physically present on campus, but her spirit, her influence, it's not going anywhere. We will miss her, and today we honor her. So a Tuesday full of goodbyes, a night of great hoops, and a month away from the NBA season exploding. You're not going to want to miss this show, folks. Strap in. It's all coming up right now. This is the Ryder Report. I am Ryder Bullock. And let's start with the W. Phoenix Mercury survive an overtime thriller over the Minnesota Lynx 89-83. The Mercury pulled out a hard-fought overtime victory in Minneapolis, edging the Lynx 89-83. Satu Silabe led the way for Phoenix with 24 points, including several clutch shots down the stretch, while Kalia Cooper hit the go-ahead three in overtime to seal the win. Sammy Whitcomb also came through late, tying the game with a huge triple in the final moments. For Minnesota, Naifa Collier poured in 24 points, keeping the Lynx competitive until the final buzzer. Phoenix shot 41.8% from the field and knocked down 13 triples compared to Minnesota's 7, which made the difference in the overtime period. Both teams battled to the end, combining for 74 rebounds and 51 assists, but the Mercury's timely shooting pushed them past Minnesota. With the victory, Phoenix evens the series one apiece and maintains momentum in the playoff race. Game 3 is set for Friday. In Las Vegas, the Vegas Aces built a lead early, stretching it to 18 points in the first half, but the Indiana Fever responded with an 11-0 run in the second quarter to cut the deficit to 11 at halftime. Aces center Asia Wilson leads her teams with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. Nalisha Smith added 10 points on 5 of 6 shooting after a quiet game 1, while Jackie Young contributes 10 points, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. For Indiana, Kelsey Mitchell has 9 points, 3 of 8, 1 of 5 from the three-point range, and Lexi Hull also has 9, 3 of 10, 3 of 6 from three-point. Las Vegas is shooting 55.9% from the field and 3 of 5 from deep, compared to Indiana's 40% and 5 of 13 from 3. Free throw shooting is near perfect for both sides, with the Aces at 12 of 14 and the Fever at 6 of 6. The rebounding battle, though, has been key. Indiana leads it with 18 boards, including 8 offensive, while Las Vegas dominates the paint 26-16. The Aces also hold advantages in points in the paint, 34-20, steal 6-3, and fast break points 7-4. Current score, Indiana Fever 46, Las Vegas Aces 63, 3:04 left to play in the third. We will keep you updated on that game as the night progresses. Let's shift, though, to college football, and what a story in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Oklahoma State Cowboys have fired Mike Gundy after 2 losing seasons. That's the news out of Stillwater this afternoon. Mike Gundy is out at Oklahoma State, fired. And listen, this one is big. You're talking about a guy who has been the face of that program for 2 decades. He's the alma mater kid. He's the quarterback from the 80s. He's the I'm a man, I'm 40 guy. He's synonymous with Cowboy football. Now, let's be fair. The numbers are there. Gundy won 170 games. He had Oklahoma State at a level they had never seen before. Remember, this is not Texas. This is not Oklahoma. This is Oklahoma State. And he made them relevant. They won the Big 12 in 2011. They were in the title game as recently as 2023. T. Boone Pickens poured the money in. Gundy turned them into a real player on the national stage. But here's the but. College football changed, and he didn't. NIL, the transfer portal, the big money programs, he couldn't keep up. You lose 11 of your last 12. You get blown out 69-3 by Oregon. You lose to Tulsa at home for the first time since 1951. You don't survive that. Fans were booing, chanting, fire Gundy. Once that happens, it's over. Now, does it erase the good? No. He's still the most successful coach in the history of that program. But in the end, the sport passed him by, and Oklahoma State decided they didn't want to wait around for him to catch up. And that's the cold, hard truth of college football in 2025. Doesn't matter if you're a legend. If you stop winning, you're gone. And speaking of endings, let's talk NFL, because the New York Giants, they are branching out to Jackson Dart, benching Russell Wilson, benching him after 3 games. Jackson Dart, the rookie, the kid from Ole Miss, is going to start Sunday against the Chargers at MetLife. Now, folks, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. From the day they made this move, I said it didn't make any sense. Wilson hasn't been good in 3 years. What did you think you were getting? A savior? No. You were getting a guy who was washed. And guess what? 3 games in, he's 30th out of 32 quarterbacks in QBR. He's completing under 60% of his passes, and he's been hit 40 times already. 40! You can't win like that. You can't survive like that. The Giants are 0-3, and Wilson gets booed off the field at home against the Chiefs. It's ugly. So now they're going to the kid. Dart comes in. He gives them legs. He gives them energy. The fans wanted him. They cheered when he took the snap last week. And listen, this is exactly what I said would happen. The Wilson experiment was doomed from the start. And now we're here. Now, does that mean Dart is going to be the answer? No. He's a rookie. He's going to take his lumps. But I'll tell you this, the franchise needed to turn the page, and the fans demanded it. That's why Wilson's out, Dart is in, and the Giants, they're already in full desperation mode in Week 4. Let's get to Houston, because this one's a head-scratcher. The Texans cut C.J. Gardner-Johnson today. Released after 3 games. 3. Now remember, they traded a former first-round pick, Kenyon Green, to the Eagles to get him in March. This is a guy who had 6 interceptions last year, helped Philly to a Super Bowl, and now he's gone before October. So what happened? Well, the reports are clear. He never picked up the defense. He busted coverages left and right. Week 1 leaves a tight end wide open in the end zone. Week 2, he bites on a short route in cover 2 and gives up a touchdown over the top. Week 3, tied game in the fourth quarter, blows his assignment again, gives up a 46-yarder that leads directly to the game-winning touchdown. That's 3 weeks, 3 losses, all by 1 score, and he's at the center of it. But here's the part that finishes you in a locker room, the finger pointing. Teammates say he never owned up to his mistakes, always blaming someone else. That doesn't fly. You lose respect in a hurry that way. D'Amico Ryans is a young coach. He can't have that kind of personality poisoning the room, so he's gone. Now the Texans are 0-3. The Titans are 0-3. They play each other Sunday. Somebody's walking out with their first win of the year. But here's the bigger point. Houston gave up real capital for Gardner Johnson. They expected a ball hawk, a playmaker. Instead, they got a liability, and they pulled the plug quick. Sometimes that's just how it goes in the NFL. The bottom line is this: Gardner Johnson will get another shot because he's got talent. And defensive coaches always think they can fix guys. But in Houston, that door is closed. And for D'Amico Ryans, it's an addition by subtraction. Let's check back in Vegas, where it is the start of the fourth quarter. Aces lead at 70-54. Asia Wilson has 21 for Vegas. Aaliyah Boston has 10 for the Fever. And there were some goodbyes also today in the W. The New York Liberty have fired head coach Sandy Borndello. Yes, the same Sandy Borndello who just last year delivered the first championship in franchise history, out after a first-round exit. That's the business. That's how fast things can change. Now, you can point to the injuries, and they were real. They never had Laney Hamilton. Stewart missed 3 games. Jonquel Jones missed time. It was not the same team that won the title last year, but the Liberty finished as the 5 seed. They get bounced in the first round by Phoenix, and management clearly decided it was time for a new voice. So who's next? Well, you're going to hear rumors. Becky Hammond's always in the conversation. You'll hear assistants like, that. Stephanie White is apparently in the conversation. The Fever's head coach. I don't think that'll happen. But maybe someone from this college ranks. Maybe. Here's the thing. Sandy Borndello, is not going to be unemployed for long. She's won wherever she's been. She's got a championship in New York. She's been to multiple finals, and she's respected across the league. She'll have her pick of jobs if she wants them, whether it's in the NBA or overseas or in college. So I don't worry for her at all. So the Liberty turned the page at a critical moment. The new CBA on the horizon, roster turnover coming, and a fan base that expects titles now. And Sandy, she'll land on her feet. That I can guarantee. From the W to the NBA, we are less than 1 month away from the NBA season. The 1 month mark was yesterday. And here are a couple of the big stories. Number 1, Boston. The Celtics fans are bracing for life without Jason Tatum after that ruptured Achilles in May. But hold on. Tatum goes on First Take and says, quote, "I never said I'm not playing this season," end quote. Now listen. You know as well as I do, an Achilles injury is usually a lost year. That's history. That's medicine. That's what it is. But this guy's in the gym. No walking boot, already moving, already talking about maybe coming back. He's rehabbing 6 days a week. And that's a game changer. So, folks, if Tatum finds a way to return late in the year, suddenly Boston isn't just holding water. They're a title threat again. But I'll say this. Don't rush it. If you're the Celtics, you've got to protect the franchise. And the franchise is Jason Tatum, period. Now, down in New Orleans, a different story. Zion Williamson. Every year it's the same. Is this the year Zion gets together? And I'll tell you, I actually like what I'm hearing this time. Joe Dumars comes in, EVP of basketball operations, and Zion says flat out, quote, I want him to hold me accountable. I need that, end quote. And listen, that's the right thing to say, but we need to see it. Zion has missed more games than he's played. That's the reality. He's never played in a playoff game. The talent is off the charts, but the body hasn't held up. This summer, he looks slimmer. Teammates say he's locked in. Dumars is telling him greatness is every day. And Zion's saying all the right things. Okay, fine. But for me, it's simple. Show me. Be on the court. Be in the lineup. Play 65 games. That's what matters. Not the boxing, not the workouts, not the sound bites, not the availability. You know, it's about the availability. That's it. So you've got Tatum trying to beat science and get back early, and Zion trying to prove he can stay healthy for once. Two stars, two totally different stories, but both of them are going to define the East and the West this year if, and it's a big if, they can get on the floor. Another team trying to challenge for the East is the New York Knicks, and I'll tell you something right now. This is not the same old Knicks story. This is a team that for the first time in a very long time goes into the season with real expectations. Mike Brown takes over as head coach, and listen, this is not a rebuilding job. He's inherited a roster that went to the conference finals last year, that won 50 games back-to-back, and they bring back every starter, every single one. Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson. It's a complete group. Now, we all know they fired Tom Thibodeau. And let's be honest, Tibbs did a good job. He put the Knicks back on the map, 4 playoff trips in 5 years, developed Brunson into an all-star. But they thought he took them as far as he could. He was stubborn. The lineups, the rotations or the lack of rotations caused some injuries late in the season. Why they were eliminated in the playoff runs that they went to. So they, want to play faster. They want a little more offensive creativity. So in comes Mike Brown. And the word around the league is this is a team that can play with anyone. Brunson says the right things. He says whatever it takes to win, I'll do it. And you believe him because he's been that guy. Towns says they've got to get better every night. Fine. The culture's there. The wild card, though, is Josh Hart. He's playing with a splint on his finger all year. He says he hates it, but he's going to gut it out. And you know what? That's who he is. He's a glue guy. He's the one who set a franchise record for triple-doubles last year. If he gives you 80% of that toughness, it matters. And Vegas right now has them right there, second best title odds behind Oklahoma City and just behind Cleveland in the East. Think about that. The Knicks are no longer chasing anybody. The Knicks are the hunted. And that means every night they're going to get a team's best shot. But here's the bottom line. If you're the Knicks, you've got to get through the grind. Okay? You don't talk about June in September. Okay? Let's talk about June after we are number one after the All-Star break. Okay? You've got to see if this new system works with Brunson, not dominating the ball every possession. That's the story. And I'll tell you this, the Knicks haven't been in this position legitimately since the 90s. They've teased. They've had a couple moments. But this is different. This team is loaded. This team is ready. And now it's about proving they can finish the job. In Las Vegas, the Aces lead the Fever 80-56. 5:52 left to play in the fourth quarter. Hull has 15 for the Fever. Asia Wilson has 23 for the Aces. Young also has 13 for the Aces as well. 9 of 16 for Wilson. 1 of 1 from downtown. Young 5 for 11. 2 for 5 from 3-point range. Here's what's trending today in sports. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer out with a hand injury. Oklahoma quarterback and early Heisman favorite John Mateer will miss about a month after breaking a bone in his throwing hand during Saturday's win over Auburn. Mateer will undergo surgery Wednesday in Los Angeles with renowned hand specialist Dr. Stephen Shin. The Washington State transfer has been the catalyst behind the Sooners' 4-0 start, leading the nation in total offense. With Mateer sidelined, sophomore Mitchell Hawkins Jr. will start October 4th against Kent State with a huge Red River rivalry showdown versus the Texas Longhorns looming on October 11th. Indiana cornerback Fernando Mendoza has now become the new Heisman favorite among betting experts. Micah Parsons returns to fake Dak Prescott this Sunday. Green Bay's Micah Parsons is set to face his old teammate and friend Dak Prescott this Sunday night in Dallas. Parsons, traded by the Cowboys just before the season, says it will be, quote, painful to sack Prescott, but insists he's treating it like any other game. The Packers rewarded Parsons with a record-setting $188 million deal, and he's already making a big impact. Meanwhile, the Cowboys' defense has struggled badly without him, ranking near the bottom of the league. Alabama's linebacker Ja Moran Latman has been hospitalized. Latham is being evaluated at a Birmingham hospital after suffering a neck injury in practice today. Head coach Kalen DeBauer said Latham has full feeling and motion and is undergoing further assessment. The 6-year senior missed the last 2 games with a lower body injury. Number 17 Alabama visits number 5 Georgia Saturday night in a pivotal SEC matchup. Former Seahawks star Richard Sherman has been granted deferred persecution in his DUI case stemming from a February 2024 arrest. The ruling pauses charges if Sherman completes 2 years of treatment for substance use or mental health, along with 5 years of probation. If he fails, the case goes to trial. Sherman, a 5-time Pro Bowler and Super Bowl champion, last played in 2021 and now works as an Amazon Prime NFL analyst. Let's get to some baseball now. We are coming down the stretch in September, and a lot of teams have already punched their tickets. The Brewers are in. The Cubs are in. The Phillies are in. The Dodgers are in. No surprise there. And the Blue Jays, the first team in the American League to clinch. They've been solid all year. Padres, too, they're back in. Now, the big story. And it's one that nobody, and I mean nobody, had 3 weeks ago. And it's the Cleveland Guardians. They've played themselves right into this picture. They're chasing Detroit in the Central. And at the same time, they're alive in the wild card. That's been one of the real shockers here. On the flip side, the Mets. What else can you say? Total collapse. They've opened the door for Cincinnati and Arizona. Mets fans can't believe it, but this has been a flat-out disaster the last 6 weeks. Look at the matchups right now in the American League. You got the Guardians against the Tigers, Red Sox against the Yankees in the wild card. That's a big-time bracket. And the winners get Toronto and Seattle. Jays have been the best team in the American League wire to wire. Mariners look legit, but remember, Yankees and Sox in October. That's always going to be box office. National League, Reds at Dodgers, Padres at Cubs, and then you've got Brewers and Phillies sitting at the top. Brewers might end up with the number 1 seed, and nobody talks about them, but they've been incredibly consistent. Phillies back-to-back division titles. They're built for October. Dodgers are the Dodgers, and the Cubs finally back after a full season. First time since 2020. Now, a couple things to watch this week. Yankees can clinch as early as today with a win over the White Sox. Mariners can lock up a spot too if things break right. Blue Jays can clinch the AL East tomorrow. Dodgers can wrap up the West. You're going to see a lot of champagne celebrations in the next couple days. But here's the point to all this. Once we get to October, the whole thing resets. The Mets collapsing doesn't matter if the Reds sneak in and get hot. The Guardians, nobody wants to face a team that rolls through September like that. And the Dodgers, as good as they are, you never know if they're going to run into the same October wall. They did win the World Series last year, but just saying, sometimes you never know. The World Series schedule is already set. October 24th is the start. Goes into November. If it goes 7, and I'll say this, we could be headed for one of the most balanced postseasons in a long time. There's no runaway favorite. Toronto's good. Milwaukee's good. But there's no 115-win juggernaut. Anybody who gets in has a chance. So the next week is huge. Positioning, matchups, and who sneaks in last. Mets fans, sorry, I think you're watching from the couch, but Cleveland, they're suddenly one of the great stories of the season. And today was another jam-packed day. We'll start in our nation's capital. Braves taking on the Nationals. Michael Harris II homered twice. And Hurston Waldrop pitched 6 strong innings to lead the Braves to a 3-2 win over the Nationals in Atlanta. Atlanta has won 10 straight games, including 6 against Washington, despite already being eliminated from playoff contention. Waldrop 6-1 allowed 1 run on 5 hits, while 5 strikeouts. Razel Iglesias earned his 28th save. Key hit includes a go-ahead homer by Ronald Acuna Jr. in the 6th and 2 homers by Harris. 444-foot shot in the 5th and a leadoff homer in the 7th. Waldrop's .857 percentage is the highest win percentage by a rookie in franchise history with at least 10 appearances. Next game, Washington's Andrew Alvarez faces Braves' Bryce Elder in the series finale. Guardians taking on Detroit. Jose Ramirez drove in a run with a swinging bunt as Cleveland rallied in a wild 6th inning to beat Detroit and move into a tie for the first in the American League Central. Tigers ace Tarek Scobell faltered in the 6th after hitting David Fry with a 99-mile-per-hour fastball, committing a throwing error, a balk, and a wild pitch. Cleveland scored multiple runs via small ball tactics with pinch hitter Daniel Shinniman's RBI single extending the lead to 5-2. Galvin Williams struck out 12 in the 6th innings for the Guardians. Key stat there, Cleveland's pitchers combined for a season-high 19 strikeouts. Next game, Detroit's Jack Flaherty faces Cleveland's Tanner Beebe. Pirates taking on the Reds. O'Neal Cruz hit a 2-run homer as the Pirates defeated the Reds, who were tied for the third NL wildcard spot. Pittsburgh scored all 4 runs in the 2nd inning off Brady Singer's. Reds' Ellie De La Cruz hit a 2-run homer, but Cincinnati was unable to recover. Rookie Hunter Barco earned his first career win for Pittsburgh, while Dennis Santana secured his 15th save. The loss by Cincinnati snapped a high 5-game winning streak. Next game, Reds' Hunter Green faces Pirates' Paul Scanins. Pirates win at 4-2, and in case I didn't say it earlier, the Guardians beat the Tigers 5-2. Here are some other games that we are tracking in Major League Baseball. Athletics are taking on the Astros right now. The Athletics lead at 2-1, bottom of the 5th. Cardinals are taking on the Giants in San Francisco. Giants lead at 7-3. Padres are bottom of the 5th there in San Francisco. Out in San Diego, the Padres are leading the Brewers 6-0, top of the 8th. Diamondbacks are losing to the Dodgers 4-0, bottom of the 7th. Rockies taking on the Mariners 3-1 there as well. Middle of the 7th. Royals taking on the Angels. Royals leading at 3-2, top of the 7th. Earlier today, the Yankees beat the Red Sox 3-2, and the Yankees rally for a walk-off win and clinch a playoff spot. Mariners taking on the Phillies. It took 11 innings, but Miami gets it done 6-5. Kyle Schwarber had his 54th homer and racks up 130 RBIs this year. But it is Miami who wins 6-5 in 11 innings. Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 4-1. Mets beat the Cubs 9-7. Twins beat the Rangers 4-1. Orioles beat the Rays 6-0. That is what is going on in Major League Baseball. We take a look at the standings real quick. Toronto has clinched a spot. New York has clinched a spot. Only one game separates Toronto and New York from that American League title, with Toronto in the league. Boston is still able to get in as well. Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City have not clinched a spot in the Central, but they're all competing for that spot, as well as Seattle, Houston, and Texas, not eliminated yet in the West. In the National League, the Phillies have clinched that division. Mets and Miami battling for second place. In the Central, Milwaukee has clinched the division. The Cubs have clinched a playoff spot. Cincinnati and St. Louis still battling. The Dodgers and the Padres are also battling for first place. Dodgers have a 2-game lead over the Padres, but both have clinched a spot. Arizona and San Francisco trying to avoid elimination. So that is what is going on in Major League Baseball. We go back to the WNBA, 18.2 seconds left to play. Aces have actually just defeated the Indiana Fever 90-68. So that series is now tied at 1 apiece. Asia Wilson was phenomenal. 10 of 18, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 25 points for Asia Wilson. Jackie Young, 5 for 11, 2 for 5 from downtown, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 13 points. Aces tie this series 1-1. Mercury defeated the Link earlier, 89-83 in overtime. So that series is also tied at 1 apiece. Games 3 are both set for Friday night. Aces fever at 7:30 in Indianapolis. The Link and the Mercury at 9:30 Eastern Time in Phoenix. Let's do tonight's final thought. We'll wrap this show up a little early. In 2026, Major League Baseball will step across another technological threshold. The automated ball strike system, robot umpires as they've been dubbed, will be making their debut in the big leagues. Not as a full replacement for human judgment behind the plate, but as a challenge system. 2 per team per game with extras in extra innings. Now let's be clear. Umpires, even the best of them, miss calls. On average, though, they're right 94% of the time. That sounds good until you realize the 6% can include pitches in the 9th inning of a 1-run game or a borderline strike 3 with the bases loaded in October. So yes, the appeal of perfect accuracy is obvious. But here's the question. At what cost? Baseball is not just numbers and outcomes. It's rhythm, tension, and human drama. Some of that comes from the fact that an umpire is part of the game, not just a referee standing outside of it. Think of how many iconic moments are wrapped up in arguments over balls and strikes. The manager storming out of the dugout. The crowd roaring as tempers flare. That's theater, and it's part of the sport's texture. There's also a deeper concern. Once the door is open, where does it stop? Do we next seek to automate check swings, bat balks, plays at the plate? At what point does the spot stop? And at what point does the sport we love turn into something resembling a video game? Precise, yes, but lacking the imperfections that remind us it's human. Supporters will say this is a compromise, keeping the umpires in charge while giving players and managers a backstop against mistakes. Maybe. But it also chips away, little by little, at a game that has endured for nearly a century and a half because it was grounded in people, not programs. The strike zone, as long as baseball has existed, has never been a box floating in the air, measured to a decimal point. It has been an understanding, a negotiation, even an art form between pitcher, catcher, and umpire. By turning that into a computer graphic on a scoreboard, baseball risks flattering a rich and subtle part of its character into just another statistic. So yes, robot umpires may reduce ejections, smooth out disputes, and deliver greater accuracy, but accuracy isn't the same as authenticity. Baseball, of all sports, ought to remember that before it lets too much of its soul be swallowed by the machines. That'll do it for me on a Tuesday night. I'm Ryder Bullock. Till next time, Ryder Bullock reporting. Thank you for your time, and thanks again for letting me share mine.